All right, welcome back, folks. This is Yankees Unloaded. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. And today we're going to be talking about the Yankees' loss. I know there have been a lot of them this year, but still, man, I hate losing. I'm sure you do as well. 5-2, but Gary, the way they lost was even more painful. To load up the bases, bring up your, superstar, and have him fall just short. Um, Also, man, the fans got to be better because on TV, not just the judge hit. I mean, multiple times in that game where it was not even at the warning track. They're like, and you're thinking, oh, okay, their reaction, this thing's going way out there. And it
It's like
just
back to the
dies.
COVID days. Remember when Michael Kay wasn't even in the stadium and he was calling games? That it reminded me of that, to be honest with you. And at
Uh,
least we had an excuse for that.
yeah.
Yeah, we do that probably a little bit too much right now.
Yeah, oh good God. Well, also we gotta stop the FL Tuve chants. We gotta stop there was a Derek Jeter chant for whatever reason. But that's really what this game was. It was a boring game. I mean, it didn't feel like, oh, a defensive battle. It felt like a boring game. I thought Stroman did a nice job knowing he didn't have his best stuff today. Still got 7 strikeouts, pitched 5 innings, only gave up 4 hits. It was the 4 walks that were concerning. Now, let's be honest here. I mean, the mistake pitch to Jake Berger, if he misses that, this is a completely different game. So I think
Definitely.
that's really what it comes down to. I mean, it just goes to show you how, again, we talk about the small ball, we talk about the contact, and it's great to see. But Jake Berger is a representation of why teams like prioritizing power.
Oh, that was a damn missile. 108.5 miles an hour, 425. Just a bomb, right? And
Yeah.
you couldn't expect, like, Luis Arias, you knew he was going to start getting on base and with regularity at some point. He did that today. We paid for it. But offensively, we just did nothing today. I wasn't really shaken up over the fact that Marcus Stroman didn't have his stuff. We talked about this. When you're talking about Marcus Stroman, and a lot of people will watch his first 2 starts and say, this is a guy I can see showing up in a big game. And I think me and Jake can both agree on this. I could see that too. I can see a Marcus Stroman towing the rubber in game 3 of a World Series and just dominating. He's got that type of stuff, especially when he's on.
Yeah.
But the reason that he's not a $200 million pitcher, and this is no slight, it's very difficult to be at that level. It's because days like this happen more often than it would for an ace. Sometimes he's going to come out there and he's not locating that cutter and that sinker and, that changeup. He's not exactly going to have his pitches the way that a Garrett Cole would. So having said that, today was just one of those days. He didn't have his stuff. You saw he had the 4 walks, so that killed him today. And unfortunately, we didn't play our best defensive baseball today, and we had to swing the bats. We showed up, absolutely loved the fact that Volpe led off today. We saw it later in the game. Jake mentioned this before the show actually started, that how nice was that, having Volpe come up in the 9th inning, and it was great.
It
Just the
was.
comparison between, and this is no knock on Gleyber Torres, it's just a simple fact of who do I want up there in the 9th inning? Do I want Gleyber Torres, then Soto or Judge, or do I want Volpe, Soto, Judge? And I think that answer is clear, not just in the short sample size, but for people who watch all of spring training. Anthony Volpe is a different player than what he was in 2023. I just think he's a top 3 most complete player offensively in this entire unit that we have out there. And so having said that, at the very least, if there's anything we could take away from this game, it is that Anthony Volpe deserves to be up there.
He absolutely does. And you had mentioned the term promotion, which it is. I mean, that's really what it felt like today. I am not looking forward to seeing the outrage. Okay, they lost. Let's go grasp at straws and say, well, if only Volpe was in the 6th spot and Glaber, it would have been a different day. I don't really think so. I mean, I think Volpe looked exactly like he did in the 6 hole. I can't stress that enough. It didn't look like the game was too quick for him or too big for him or confidence issues. I really think we need to just shove that, because I just don't think that is going to affect him. If he was a rookie, okay, but this guy played how many games last year? Almost all the games last year. I'm sorry, miss me with that. So look, I thought Volpe had some great at bats. I think the speed. I mean, he is going to absolutely score 100 runs this year. The question is how much more than 100 is he going to end up with? Because right now he's on pace for 137, which is insane because he's literally batted sixth or seventh or fifth the whole year up until now. So that's ridiculous. But you see the speed to be able to score from first. You're smiling over there because it is not to be taken for granted him scoring on that Soto double. That was a double, but that was a double into the right field wall. And, that's going to be your best arm on, in the outfield.
That's right.
And you have to assume at that point, like maybe he could have played it a little bit better, but like anybody other than Volpe or like a really fast guy is getting thrown out at home.
It just makes us more dynamic. Actually, for people who are more so baseball fans, because for me personally, I don't just watch the Yankees. Okay. And I know there's a lot of us on this channel, specifically our viewers, that maybe do. And that's totally fine. But for me personally, earlier today, I was watching the Dodgers play. And now this didn't exactly work out for LA, but they have Shohei Ohtani hitting obviously at the top of the lineup. Well, Freddie Freeman laces a ball down the right field line, and you have Carlos Correa as the relay man. Carlos Correa has arguably the best arm at shortstop in the big leagues. He's probably top 3. So having said that, Shohei Ohtani on a double down the line against their best relay arm gets thrown out by inches at the plate. And they said after the game, they said only Shohei Ohtani and maybe like Ellie De La Cruz are even close to scoring on that play. And Anthony Volpe is another player who can steal runs over the course of a season on balls in the gap from Juan Soto. When you're talking about Gleyber Torres, and I don't know if you guys have seen him run, but any ball in the gap, Gleyber Torres is not scoring.
No,
Okay,
he's getting a
I'm here to
third,
tell
and
you,
you're feeling good about it, right?
you're feeling great.
Yeah,
He's not scoring.
but this is above and beyond. This is why, and this we shouldn't be arguing. Volpe is the future of this franchise. You want to see him doing these things. You want him to be hitting leadoff. The shortstop hitting leadoff. What does that sound like? It's just it felt so good today to know that he was in the leadoff spot. I do want to touch on Soto because I thought his at bats were killer today, man. He just absolutely, and I mean, he pretty much always feels this way, but I said it when we first started. Soto gives you the feeling that it's a surprise when he doesn't get on, and today, he works one walk. Gleyber actually worked two, and Volpe worked two. By the way, great job at the top, working 2 walks in the leadoff hole. But Soto, I feel like, pitchers are going to have a hard time pitching to Soto, knowing not only does Judge come after, but now Volpe's on. So now you're going to have, oh, well, I got to keep the runner honest. And now you're because say what you will, I've pitched before. Yes, okay, you throw over, you keep the runner honest. That can get in your head. That can throw you, off your rhythm.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think it did that to the pitcher on the Yankees, who's blanking, Dennis Santana. He was so obsessed, and I mean, he wasn't wrong because Tim Anderson ends up scoring, but he was so obsessed with Tim Anderson on first. Like it's almost like he foresaw that he could see the future. He's like, Tim Anderson's going to end up scoring.
Well,
I
it's
need to
easier
get him
for us
now.
to say, it's easy for us to say, hey, don't worry about that guy after the fact. Oh, hey, he didn't steal bases, so why worry about his speed? Well, there's a reason that speed's on the field. It's not just for balls in the gap. It also creates, at the very least, a threat. And when you have a threat to steal a bag, it genuinely changes how your 2 and your 3 hitters are pitched. And you'll see that a lot this year. You're going to see when Anthony Volpe starts to get on base with regularity, which he's starting to do already, you're going to start seeing he's stealing bases. Okay, now the adjustment to that is we need to start throwing more fastballs to give our catcher a chance. Because you know what? We cannot allow Juan Soto, who has proven, I will take a walk if you don't throw me fastballs. You're going to put 2 guys on with Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge won't be hitting a $175 all year, guys. I'm just here to tell you,
And he
we
won't be
lost this
flying
game.
out to center in this moment all year.
Exactly. So, in my opinion, we have to give Aaron Boone credit because he's using his brain. I know he told us yesterday that 10 years from now, we're going to be seeing Anthony Volpe. It was a bit of a cop-out answer. but at the very least, his actions showed us that he's actually using his brain to create this lineup. It wasn't a demotion for Gleyber Torres. This was strictly a promotion for Anthony Volpe. It will allow the Yankees to score. I can't even tell you how many runs this year that they otherwise wouldn't have scored. I absolutely love it. So I'm trying to take the positive out of what we saw today because, of course, this is pretty much a nothing burger from the offense. We pretty much got nothing from the bottom of the lineup. I mean, we got nothing from Glaber, Verdugo. Birdie had an infield single. Trevino obviously went 0 for 4. It's what you expect at this point. And we got,
.056 batting average.
is that bad? Yeah, I mean, and of course, those numbers will improve. We mentioned this about Verdugo. We expect to get some type of improvement out of those 4 guys. But I will say, when you get that type of production, you can't really expect to score more than 2 or 3 runs in a game. And that's what happened today. We could have been bailed out from Aaron Judge, and we were hoping that would have happened. But the fact that it didn't, let's just chalk this game up as an L for the whole unit.
No, let's take a little bit of a minute here. Tanner Scott gets the save, and the dude almost blew the game. I just think it's funny because like he walked the bases loaded and brought up the winning run. That's the opposite of what you want out of a guy that's closing the game. That's not really closing the game. That's keeping it. Closing it is shutting the door. No, you're not coming back. It's not happening. He's the reason that they came back the way they did. I mean, I thought that was funny, but again, I know how baseball works. It's just, again, making fun of kind of the silliness of it.
They should have
Stanton,
people vote on who gets the win.
I know. Well, Weathers got the win and he deserved it. Not really a strikeout guy, only gave up 3 hits. I will say this though. I mean, we're going to be talking about it every day. It seems like the home plate umpire was awful. He was horrible. And like before we get into that, let's talk about the other guys in the lineup because we'll get to Verdugo and we'll touch on that. But Stanton, he's still hitting the cover off the ball. I mean, he mashed that home run. And it sucks that today, just once again, like Judge 2Ks wasn't his best today. It sucks that he wasn't on base when that happened. I mean, it just anytime you get Stanton up at the dish and he's hitting like this, you definitely don't want to have the bases empty. I mean, this is a guy that like if he came up the way he's hitting right now, and this is the funny part about everything is as much gripe as we gave to Stanton, I would have trusted him more with the bases loaded right now than Aaron Judge, and that's where we're at right now.
Well, a
And
lot of that's timing, of course. I mean, it's just how baseball goes. And I think if we were all being honest with ourselves, and Jake, I know you understand this answer, is
yeah,
that if we really looked at our lineup, we'd say, okay, Anthony Volpe's our leadoff hitter. We would love to see him up there. Juan Soto is probably our best at bat right now,
yeah,
and probably Giancarlo Stanton. Those are our 3 guys. Okay. Aaron Judge is essentially off pedigree hitting third. And we know he's going to improve. That's not even up for debate. Not worried about it. I'm not worried about what's off. Did he take enough at bats in spring training? I thought they made the right decision, slow playing him in spring training,
I
making
did too.
sure he was healthy. And yes, will it cost us a few games in April? So freaking
Probably.
what? So what?
But
Right?
it's not a huge deal. 10-3 is nothing to be, upset about. And, I gotta say, there are people complaining you don't have Stanton after Judge in the 9th because you pinch ran him with Jemai Jones. That's the right baseball move. Stanton isn't moving on the base pass. Plus, I don't want Stanton to get hurt. I don't want Stanton out there on the base paths, So I didn't mind putting Jemai Jones in as the pinch runner. It didn't come to anything, but I understood the rationale behind that. The best thing I can say about Rizzo right now is I feel like his bat is there. Like he's getting better. Like, you can see he's getting comfortable. His defense is deteriorating, and I don't understand it. I mean, we texted about this. It's the worst defense I've seen from Rizzo, and I've always looked at him as a plus fielding first baseman. Maybe not necessarily Gold Glove anymore, but like definitely up there as like one of the better ones. And
Oh,
this
absolutely.
this year he's costing the Yankees, opportunity. I mean, I still think early on in the game when Stroman, he had that dribbler right into his glove and he just dropped it, and Stroman has to run over there. I don't want my pitcher having to run over and put himself in a position. I know they widened the bag, right? But I still don't want my pitcher to put himself in position where he can get a leg injury or something or collide into a runner. I'm trying to avoid those. Obviously, sometimes you have them. And I'm not talking about the routine he covers first. It's a flip and you beat him by 3 steps. I'm talking the bang bang. You want to avoid that. That never should have come to be. That was because Rizzo, who doesn't get an error because they made the play, right? He just bobbles an easy one. And then I got to say, Volpe, okay? I'm going to defend Volpe here. His error on the throw, I don't see how that's a bad, like an error worthy throw. It,
Well, it really wasn't, because you have to remember, if you watch really good teams, and we are a really good team, but most great teams, you'll see a lot of times you'll say, "Oh yeah, that guy's a Gold Glove shortstop. Oh, they have a Gold Glove third baseman." When you watch, let's just use Mark Teixeira as a perfect example, because Mark Teixeira was the first baseman of arguably the greatest infield that I ever saw assembled. Go watch their film and tell me what you see out of Mark Teixeira. I understand Mark Teixeira was in his prime. I got all that. But we've talked about it. If there's one thing what Anthony Rizzo should have in his toolbox as he ages to 34, 35, 36 years old, it's his glove. If his bat starts to diminish, we can grow to expect that. But when you watch Mark Teixeira back in the day, you're seeing Jeter throw the ball in the dirt. You're seeing guys like Cano throw the ball in the dirt on double plays. And it's just business as usual for Teixeira. He's picking balls left and right. He's
yeah.
making stretches. And long behold, the conversation's not about, oh, that the shortstop made an error or the second baseman made an errant throw. You just have basically a garbage disposal over there at first base. And that, to be quite honest with you, is Rizzo's job. Rizzo's job on this team is to put the ball in play, take his walks, hit a few home runs, and play great defense. That's his role. His role is not to hit 35 homers or hit to the pace he did last year before his concussion. None of that, okay, is on his job description. If he was signed up for Indeed right now, he wouldn't be acquiring a job with the Yankees to be the 5 hitter or 4 hitter and bop, right, and drive in 95 runs. We don't need it. I need him to be reliable at first base so my Gold Glove shortstop isn't piling up errors because you don't know how to pick the ball. Or I'm watching guys who I cannot afford to get hurt go sliding, going headfirst into first base to make tag plays or close bang bang plays at first because you're bobbling the ball. Okay. These mistakes happen from time to time. But like I said before, early on in the season, you got to shore this up, figure it out. And we need to pencil in his defense. We need to take a look at his defense. We need Judge to pick it up offensively, right? There's certain things with different players on this team that they're just not fulfilling. And to be honest with you, it's more disappointing to see Rizzo not playing solid defense at first base than it is for anyone's bat that hasn't arrived.
I agree, because that's just something that you just assume, oh, Rizzo plus fielder, Now, I mean, he's put himself in a position where Boone is going to have a tough decision to make. Like when LeMahieu comes back, LeMahieu might have to play first. I mean, he might be a better fielder at this point in the day. It's frustrating. Still totally disagree with giving Volpe an error on the throw.
Mhm.
To me, you're giving him the same thing you're giving a guy who airmails it over the first baseman's head. I mean, the ball was in front of him too. He didn't pick it, and then the ball was in front. It wasn't like it went into the camera well. So
This
I
is where
just
context is important, because baseball, just staring at the score sheet, and I totally get it. Like,
mhm.
to be honest with you, I really agree with your take here.
Yeah,
Anyone who did watch that game would know that's on Rizzo. But for
yeah.
people who, and we all have busy lives, sometimes we miss these games. And some people didn't watch this game tonight and will only watch us. And they'll say, let me go look at the score sheet. And they'll say, oh, the Yankees made an error today. It was a decently close game. Oh, it was Volpe. Volpe made a big error a couple days ago. He made an error today. And your judgment would be Volpe must not be fielding the ball very well. Well, the good news is that most people watching this show saw the game tonight, and that error, those are not all treated equally, man, because that ball has got to be handled. It's got to be taken care of. And that's just what comes with the job.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm fine with them just ruling that a base hit. In my opinion, it was that close. It's bang bang. I mean, he doesn't pick it. Technically, I want my first baseman picking that ball. At the same time, Volpe made it a harder play than it had to be if he just delivers it to his glove. So I'm not trying to penalize Rizzo with the error. I'm just saying it's a base hit because it's bang bang. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think if
No,
it's
I can see.
I think we
Okay.
should, with scoring, I think we should account for how close the play truly is. If the runner's almost there, like it's like he is right dead in the middle of the picture, and it's oh, he doesn't pick it or whatever, I'm giving him the hit. If it's like he's 3 steps away and you don't pick it, and then you don't make that play, like he was gonna be out. You see
Well,
what I'm
shoot, we
saying?
did yeah, but we did that with Soto. You saw the other day, I think it might have been yesterday, where Juan
Yeah.
Soto actually reached and they didn't pick the ball, and Michael Kay on the broadcast, and he brought up a really good point. He said, that probably will be a base hit," and then advanced on an error to second base, and the scorekeeper did not give it to him. They gave him an error. So, that's just kinda, I guess, the way that they're scoring it right now. Who knows why, but it's just what we're seeing so far.
Yeah. You know what else we're seeing so far? I don't exactly love it. Um,
What's up?
The Yankees have grounded into 17 double plays this season.
Is Verdugo 15 of them?
that's
I feel
current,
like I watch him ground into double play every other day.
that's currently 3 more than any other team. So that
Okay.
has always been the Yankees' Achilles heel. It's always been in their DNA. It feels that way. Today, Soto, Torres, Volpe, and Volpe, and that's Fielding. Excuse me. It was just Verdugo today. Okay, so Verdugo grounded into a double play. They left 10 on base. 0 for 7 runners in scoring position. Torres 0 for 1. Birdie 0 for 1. Rizzo 0 for 1. Judge 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Verdugo 0 for 1. Your RBIs, Stanton at 8. Soto at 12. Home run, of course, Stanton had a 6th inning jack into the right field seats. That was fun to watch. Soto had a double, his 3rd of the year. And yeah, let's talk about Verdugo now, because and look, the double play stuff, like, you were joking about that. I like totally get that. But I'm going to defend him here, because at the dish today, it seemed like he must have said something before the game to piss off this home plate umpire, because he did not get a fair call, with the strike zone at all. And I want to bring this up because I was so impressed with the way Boone handled this. The first time, okay, there's an awful pitch that gets called strike 3. And, Verdugo goes like this and barely even swings the bat. And so he's thinking, I didn't swing, right? And even the catcher's pointing down to third, like, and then, he's like, no, he called him out. He's like, what? You called that a strike? He's like, are you kidding me? And like, he was getting into his face. And Boone, recognizing that an important player, in a game that is close, that he'll need down the stretch, he wants to come out there, calm him down, and keep him out of harm's way so he doesn't get tossed. And I thought that was a great job, because Boone could have sit there and complained and complained and complained, but instead he just made sure Verdugo was okay. He didn't get tossed. So because he diffuses that situation, okay, it leads to the next at bat with Verdugo. It's almost the same exact pitch, and he calls it a strike. And it doesn't strike him out per se, but it's one of those, points in the game where it's like, are you kidding me? And that at that moment, Boone snaps, because he was basically saying, without saying, the first time, Gary, okay, that pitch absolutely was not a strike, but I'm not going to be confrontational. He mentioned it this offseason, how he's trying to cut down the amount of times he's being thrown out, because he's on a historical pace. He's ahead of Earl Weaver right now. It's crazy.
What's funny is I don't even mind that,
Oh, I
to
don't
be
either.
honest
I
with you.
love it. I think the fans love it. But he's trying to cut down the amount of times he gets thrown out. So I actually like that he wasn't in the umpire's face right away. He gave him the benefit of the doubt. Whatever, bad call, we'll move on. Next time, he gets that call, and Verdugo, doesn't really react. Like, he's upset, but like you
Mhm.
could tell, but he didn't bark at him, was respectful and everything. And then at that point, that's when your manager comes to bat for you. If your manager has the balls to come to bat for you, and Boone does, because man, he let Bacon have it. That was the guy behind the plate. I think honestly, having a piece of bacon calling the game would have been just as good as this dude,
Probably.
because he was awful, and I'm so glad Boone came out and just told him, he's like, no, 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 that first pitch was not a strike. It was a bad call, and this one is even worse. And he was getting in his face, and I want the audio for that because I want to hear it all. But also another thing, when Boone does stuff like that, he's trying to get him to fix it. He's not just coming out there throwing a fit. And I think the casual fan doesn't quite realize that. Boone's coming out there saying, you have a problem. Fix this. That's what he
Yeah.
said when he was walking away. So to me, that's good managing, because you're realizing, hey, next at bat Verdugo has, he's going to have to deal with that shit again, you know? So
Yeah,
I
and I
need to
guess
get in here and stop this.
I guess I didn't really look at it that way from a standpoint of actually trying to effectively argue, because I guess most people look at arguing in Major League Baseball and sports in general is that we're all just wasting our own time. Like,
Mhm.
we're just yelling at this guy. He's going to get more pissed off. The more pissed I get, and I'm going to start shaking, and he's just going to he's going to wag his finger in my face the way we saw last year with Garrett Cole. We kind of knew that that arguing wasn't going to improve the umpiring. We just kind of wanted to let it out. But it seems like Boone's being a little bit more intentional with how he
Yeah,
argues this year, which is good.
I like
But
that.
one thing I will say about Verdugo
Yeah,
and
he
how
didn't do
this
the
all he didn't do all that crazy stuff. Yeah, because it didn't get us better umpiring, let's be honest.
no,
But
taunting an
as far as
umpire is not going to get you far.
never, but even though it is really fun
It
for
was
us on the
hilarious.
podcast. But as far as Verdugo goes, a lot of people don't understand the context of why Alex Verdugo's here. Okay. Why the Boston Red Sox gave up on him. And they'll tell you they didn't give up on him, but they sure as hell did. Let me tell you guys the context. I can pull up, and this is an easy Google search for just about anybody who wants to take the time. Go ahead and type in Alex Cora and Alex Verdugo and tell me what you find about how Alex Verdugo was described and essentially backed as a Boston Red Sox. And here's what I found. Alex Cora, this is in August of 2023. Alex Cora rips Alex Verdugo. Alex Cora rips Alex Verdugo. This is in December. And then in December, Alex Verdugo throws shade at Alex Cora. So what does that tell you? That tells me, so I don't try and draw harsh comparisons and I try to draw harsh conclusions about what we're seeing. All it tells me is that there's a disconnect somewhere. I'm not trying to throw blame at Alex Cora, or maybe it's it's Verdugo's fault. I don't even care whose fault it was. All it tells me is that the two parties did not understand each other. They were not on the same page. That's all it means. In this situation tonight, yes, we lost. Yes, it's hard to find positives. But when you're talking about a player like Alex Verdugo, who they've complained, the Boston Red Sox have complained about his hustle, his heart, all these different things. They never complain about his contact rate, his ability to hit for average, none of those things. So we expect to get that from him. But what happens when you have a guy you expect to perform and then you back him as the manager? You actually have his back. So now when you're asking him to hustle, you're asking him to dive headfirst into different bases. Maybe we're not going to have to demand that out of him. Maybe he's just going to want to do it. And so
Yeah,
far, have you heard anyone complain about Verdugo's effort? Because I sure haven't.
no,
So I'm
he's a
just happy to
clubhouse
see that.
favorite too.
So far, Alex Verdugo just seems like a ball of energy, the same way that I saw Nick Swisher in that Yankees locker room. Yes, are they
Yes.
slightly different personalities? Absolutely, they're different. But they're not coming into the Yankees locker room trying to change. They're trying to be themselves, and Boone is trying to back players who are being themselves. So if I had to say anything about this, it's that I'm expecting to get the most out of Verdugo because of the way Boone is being right now. So that's what I'm hoping to see going forward, because you never know long term if that's going to continue. But at least so far, I don't have any complaints.
I like that. That's a good poll there. I don't think anybody's talking about that. I didn't know about that.
They
You
ripped
know,
him to bits. They ripped this guy to bits. I mean, they're talking in post game. How many times do you remember Aaron Boone showing up post game and just saying, yeah, that guy just doesn't bring enough energy. He doesn't bring enough effort. I
the
sure as
only
hell don't
time,
remember them talking about, oh yeah, Glaber, he just never runs. I've never
yeah,
heard that.
The only time Boone ever called anybody out was when he didn't really have a choice, because it was right before the playoffs and people were just constantly, and he was defending him. He was, trying to keep it, quiet. But obviously, this is your closer, Aroldis Chapman. And people are like,
Yes.
why is he not on the roster? And he said he didn't meet the criteria to be on our postseason roster. And people were like, whoa, Boone just ripped Chapman. It's like, what do you want him to say?
He didn't even
Basically,
say anything
Chapman
there.
said, I don't want to join the Yankees in the postseason. And
Yeah.
Boone was just like, okay, you're our closer, but so yeah, I think he got a lot of shade for that, or you got a lot of hate for that. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, I like Boone. I like him. He's a former Yankee. He came through in a huge spot. I think he's a good manager. Is he my favorite manager? Honestly, I don't know how many managers I love. So I mean, maybe he is by default, but does that mean that I'm always on his side? Absolutely not. But I genuinely like the guy. Like, he bothers me at times, but I mean, I've had coaches of favorite teams that I loved that I would criticize to no end, you
Yeah.
know? And so I think that's the thing, is I'm realizing is that I actually do like Aaron Boone, and I think he's almost overhated. And I get it, because it's the Yankees. They have not won a World Series since 2009, which is like unheard of. This drought has been it's been a long thing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that he's had guys like Aaron Judge. Now he has Juan Soto. Now, Giancarlo Stanton, Anthony Volpe, Rizzo. I mean, Torres, all of these guys, Cole. And when you see that many big names, and you know how much money they're spending, and you go out and get Rodon, it's like he's going to be under fire if they don't have success, especially last year. But I don't look at last year like that was his fault. He wasn't a great manager last year, but a
Oh, he
lot of
wasn't.
that was injury. And that's the
Well,
thing,
also
is
that when
that
look at the roster. I mean, look
oh,
at
and it
the
wasn't.
difference.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, look at the roster. Last year we were talking about we're looking at guys like Cordero, and what are we people can look just go ahead and look at a starting lineup
Oh,
from
yeah.
beginning of August last year and tell me who was hitting 7th. Okay? Tell me who was hitting 7th, and you're going to say, "Well, why would anybody expect that guy to get on base? Why would anyone expect him to drive in runs?" And if you look at our lineup today, you don't say, "Oh, hey guys, our 5, 6, 7 guys are coming up to the plate. Let me go to the bathroom." You don't do that anymore. And
No.
the manager, unfortunately, in Boone's case, you don't get to go up there and hit for guys. Sometimes there's no string to pull. I know we are all in hindsight. We do that here at this show as well. We say, "Why didn't you pinch hit this guy? Why didn't you play that guy?" Last year, there just flat out weren't guys to play. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. There weren't strings to be pulled. And maybe you can argue he could pull one string here, pull one string there, to make us an 85 win team instead of 82? Like, that's the difference you're talking about. So this year, I felt like Brian Cashman, and I hate to give him credit because he's done such a poor job overall,
I agree.
he has absolutely made the correct decisions to, at the very least, allow Aaron Boone to make smart decisions. That's all we're saying at this show. I've criticized Boone plenty, and I promise you guys, I've done it a lot. I've literally had like Brett Boone reach out to me and be like, "Hey man, ease off on my brother," like all types of stuff like that. And I'm telling you guys, and that's not like, that's no knock or anything, because I would probably do the same thing if someone was criticizing Jake or someone was criticizing someone that that I love. But let's be clear, none of it's personal. And the second that I see Aaron Boone doing a good job, I'm going to be the first person to mention how good of a job he's doing, because this year my complaints were what he does with the starting pitchers in terms of inning allocation, what he does in terms of the lineups, and all he's done so far is deliver. And so I'm going to spend time on our show mentioning the positive of what he does. And then when he does something negative, like he doesn't bring someone off the bench tonight, which we could have done in the 8th inning, I'm going to bring it up. But that doesn't mean I hate
Nice
him.
segue.
Matter of fact, he's probably a top 3 manager in this league right now.
Probably. I mean, yeah. Well, think about how many World Series the Dodgers might have if they had it. I mean, think about that. I mean,
Ask Dodgers
seriously.
fans that. Ask a Dodgers fan if you guys had a so you ask the average Dodgers fan, what do you think about Dave Roberts? They'd say, I like him, but when we get to the postseason, his decision making with especially the pitchers is very skeptical. What he does with Kershaw, very sketchy. A lot of people will tell you that. Dodgers
Yeah.
fans. Now, what if you had a really good manager? Okay, what if you had Don Mattingly as your manager? Like you can just fill in the blank.
Well,
They would probably feel like they would win multiple World Series championships. I promise you. Go ask them.
it's funny. That's what ruined the Dodgers for me. I used to like them, not as a fan, but like
Right.
I respected them.
Mhm.
And yeah, when they fired Don Mattingly and they brought in Dave Roberts, and I saw continuously Dave Roberts was doing no better than Mattingly. He just had way better players and a new ownership. I was like, you know what? I don't like the Dodgers anymore. But I think they might be on a collision course, the Yankees and Dodgers. So we'll put a pin in that for now.
I
With
hope
that
so, man.
said, because that'd be fun. With that said, though, to wrap this thing up, we're not going to talk about Trevino being an automatic out and all that, but we are going to talk about the fact he should have been pinch hit for.
Yes.
And I think Birdie should have been pitched hit for, and that's not even hindsight's 2020. He got on base, and I'm saying that I stand by my feeling going into that inning. You have Verdugo coming up, and he has not had a favorable strike zone, so you have to imagine you're getting one out there. So now you're gonna have one out with Birdie and Trevino as the last batter. Hell no. I like Birdie.
That's all
I
that is.
like Birdie. You and I like Birdie. Birdie is not hitting as well as, I mean, who knows how well Cabrera is hitting because I haven't seen him. but but
I don't even
Cabrera,
remember him.
yeah, who's that? Cabrera is sitting there getting cold on the bench, right? And you got Wells. You're hitting Wells for Trevino. You did it in Arizona in a game that you didn't need to do it for, and then this game you don't. That's not on Boone. Boone was tossed. This is Brad Ausmus. He needs to do a better job of that. He put in Jahmai Jones, okay? So that was a good move because, he's like, okay, pinch runner. Why did he leave these guys out to hit? Because how I look at the ending, and yes, we talked about it, Judge needs to come through. I get that. But that Judge fly out is probably the second out of the inning if they pinch hit those two guys, in my opinion.
Hey,
Or
maybe he
one of them.
forgot they were on the roster. I mean, they haven't hit in a while. It's been a minute.
I know. I have people asking, like, hey, do you know if Cabrera's injured? Do you know if Cabrera's injured? I don't know. I just found out today Spencer Jones has a neck stinger. So, I mean.
Wait, can we curse on this show?
Yeah, it's our show.
Yeah, okay. So I kid you not, I had 40 DMs and someone was like, "Hey, where the fuck is Cabrera?" That's my whole DM. My whole DM is literally my phone just buzzing. I go, "Oh my gosh, did we win?" Because I took my eye off the TV, and then it's you texting me going, "Where's Cabrera?" And then I'm sitting there looking at my phone, and there's like 35 DMs from people going, "Bro, wait till we get on the podcast. You need to talk about this Cabrera." And let's be clear, before this game started, and I saw the lineup, I said, where are these guys? Like, how is this lineup being constructed? And it's very clear, because I want to be fair. Their decision making on this lineup is pure. We're going to platoon. You're a lefty, you're playing. You're a righty, you're playing, right? And that's the way that they're building the lineup. But having said that, the way Cabrera has swung the bat so far this year, he's probably our fourth best player on the team.
I know. It's
so I get it.
Again, we gave Boone a lot of credit. That's something where we're going to criticize Boone because it's like a guy who's hot like that. You don't think he could have made a difference today? Well, I'll tell you, he definitely makes a difference today because if he's at third base, Birdie got that hit at the end of the game. I think he's going to get a hit in a bigger spot, earlier in the game, right? And then Trevino, I mean, my thing is Wells keeps showing you something. Wells at the dish. I mean, we talked about it already. How is like 90th percentile in all these different hitting analytics and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of time. But the one thing you can do to stop that from being a matter of time before he starts turning on is moving over to Trevino, sitting him. He needs more at bats. I can't stress it enough. And I saw people on Twitter saying, well, Trevino had some great at bats. He drove him to the warning track. So now driving him to the warning track, he has one hit all year, Gary. One hit all year. I mean, we're going to sit here and really do the whole, well, he hit it far.
What is he, 1 for 22?
I think so. They said he had one hit today.
That
That's what they
seems like the
said.
math of that. 1 for 22, 1 for 21. It's got to be one of those things.
He has one hit on the year. Yeah, 1 for 22.
Okay. I mean, let me say this. People say all the time, I like Trevino. I didn't ask if you liked him. You
liked
like
Ronald
a player?
Torreyes too.
I
didn't
love.
I like
these guys. Yeah, I like playing guys who play well. Okay, yeah. And when it comes to liking the players, that's is someone really going to ask me what
I like Stanton?
Yeah,
I don't want Stanton. I don't want Stanton to be bad. I just at that point I was like looking at him like when he was 3 for 24, and I'm like, I don't really see this ending well, Gary. I'm gonna just jump on it now. DFA Stan. Like that was my whole thing.
Right.
Max Goodman tweeted this out. Giancarlo Stanton was 3 for 24 to start the season a week ago, hitting 125 with 13 strikeouts in 25 plate appearances. In the last 5 games since then, he's batting .421, 8 for 19 with 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and a bunch of vintage hard contact.
Yeah, well, Jake, can I tell you, I really like Giancarlo.
Yeah.
People tell it to me all day long. Hey, I know this guy's hitting $110, but Gary, I really like him. Well, do you like him as a person or do you like him in the position that he's in? Because this is a job. I know that we make this whole fuss and we have podcasts to discuss this team, and this seems like this like WWE type situation about where it's like fake. No, this is real life. These are people who make money. This is a job, okay? It's not about liking and disliking, okay? If it comes to liking, well, Josh Donaldson probably wouldn't have been on the field very much last year, but when it's about performance and ultimately lost his job because of performance, there's guys on this team right now that I frankly, if you gave me a 20-minute segment to discuss what they're great at, I would probably tell you I can name one thing and they're not playing great at it right now. So that's just what it is. I'm not trying to say that Trevino shouldn't be on the team. Nothing harsh. Right now, he just hasn't shown me enough in the last, I'd say, beginning of this year, last half of last year. Obviously he got hurt, but he wasn't playing well before that either. So part of me just wants to say, well, what exactly is this player doing to take Wells off the field? If you're going to tell me that Wells can't take at bats against righties as a lefty because he has reverse splits, that's not going to do it for me personally.
No,
I want to see Wells
that.
play.
I'm tired of that. I mean, you can't bench a guy who's hitting 333 or whatever the hell Cabrera is doing right now because of splits. I'm so tired of that. I do not care what you say. I'm so over it. If a guy is that hot, that is the exception to the rule, right? And I'll say this: I like Harrison Bader. I really liked him. The year before. I mean, I like him a lot, and I realized that right now, and when they made that move to get Verdugo, he was the better option. I mean, you could sit there and be like, wow, I really like him. He makes plays in center field. Like, he's fun. Great. At the same time, like Alfonso Soriano was my favorite player at one point, and they traded him for A-Rod. Am I going to sit there and be like, oh my God, why did they trade Alfonso Soriano? They just got Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Like, you don't sit there and be like, oh, that is awful. That is a terrible trade. Alex Rodriguez might have been the best player in baseball when they acquired him.
Yeah, it's just true.
You're not going to sit there and be like, but I like Alfonso Soriano. What's funny is that they ended up getting him back at one point. But look, to your point, we like players, right? Guys give off good vibes. They make, I'm sure at one point you all like Josh Donaldson early on the season in that one season where they just kept walking off. Donaldson
Mhm.
had like 5 of those to start the year. So
He
people are
was
like,
super likable at that point.
yeah, and when Donaldson's on your team and you're playing well and you're winning, you're sitting there like, yeah, Donaldson's fun. I like Donaldson. But then, as the time goes on and he starts striking out like crazy and, he's putting together horrible at bats, you have to realize, like, yeah, it's great that you like the player, but, I love Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner, it came to a point where he wasn't producing anymore and they had to move on. It's really that simple. So, I mean, you can like Trevino. He's not like a homegrown Yankee or anything like that, but you can like him. I'll just say this: the Yankees spent a first round pick on Austin Wells. I want to see Austin Wells, who has successfully made it to the big leagues, who is actually showing potential to be potentially the next Jorge Posada in this lineup. I want to see him, and I want to only see him. And when I don't see him, I want it to be because catchers can't play 150 games in a season, not because, well, we got to get Trevino in there. Like, no, we don't need to get Trevino in there. His arm is gone. The only thing he does really well is he frames the ball better, I think,
Well,
than
wait a
well.
minute. Wait a minute, Jake. They're telling me he has reverse splits. According to what?
I just,
What did
I
you see? Because people tell me all the time, okay? All the time, still to this day, well, it's early. It is early. You can't draw conclusions about a player. Well, what did they see? You're telling me that Austin Wells, you're telling me he just couldn't hit righties this whole way up the minor leagues? The average pitcher he saw was a righty, and he got to this point, and that's your first
it's
round pick. I guarantee you he's better than what they're giving him credit for. At the
course.
very least,
It's the
just
over
put him on the field.
analyzing. That's what it is. It's always been that way. By the way, shout out to our guy Luke Weaver, who actually pitched pretty well today. He didn't get the win though, sadly. He was going for his league leading 4th win of the year.
Baseball is so stupid.
Like the
Best he
fact
ever pitched, he didn't get the win.
I know. And then like he pitched horribly a couple times and he gets wins. I mean, it just kind of goes to show you. I was gonna look up the splits real quick before we end this thing for Austin Wells.
I
You're
need to know this. He better be hitting, like when I tell you, he needs to be hitting, because I'm assuming he's probably like a 250 hitter. He needs to be hitting under 200 to justify this. Because if he's hitting under 200 against righties, then what that tells me is that we have failed to develop. If you, as a left-handed hitter, you cannot hit righties, what is that?
Yeah, that's just I don't even know. Let's see
That's
here.
crazy.
So Wells, wow, okay. Show me the career splits, not 2024. Why would I want to see the 2024 splits?
So like 2024, he does not exist against righties. He's had one at bat.
You want to see the splits for 11 games in which he's probably played 7 of? Yeah, sign me up. Okay. So, versed right-handed pitcher, right? That's what you're asking.
That's exactly what I'm asking.
He's hitting 220. He's got 4
Okay.
home runs, 14 RBIs, 722 OPS. That's 27 games, 93 plate appearances. Versus left-handed pitching, he's got 12 plate appearances. He has 1 hit, 4 strikeouts, batting .091. And what I will say to this is this, okay? Versus lefties, he has 12 plate appearances. How the hell do we know what he is against lefties?
They're going to tell us that they talk to staff in the minor leagues, and I'm sure. But at some point or another, they have to be realistic about what Wells has to be for this team. And Wells, at some point or another, has to be the starting catcher. Your starting catcher cannot. So this is what this means. If your left-handed catcher cannot face right-handed pitching, he cannot be your starting catcher at any point. I'm just telling you guys, there is not one catcher in Major League Baseball. And this is coming from someone who's now admitting, I like what I'm seeing from Wells. Okay. I like the type of swings he's taking, regardless of who he's facing, lefty or righty. I don't care. Okay. And having said that, which catcher is great in the game today? You're like, yeah, when right-handed pitcher's out there, the opposite hand, he just can't be at the plate. Which guy? It's not JT Realmuto. It's not anybody. It's not Rushman. I don't care. I don't care who you name. It's none of them. So the Yankees, at the very least, have to give him an opportunity. You can't just sit him on the bench until a lefty's throwing. That's nonsense.
You know, he's from Scottsdale, Arizona. I just thought I'd throw it out there.
I knew it. Well, yep, I knew I liked him. See, I like players too.
Hey,
put him on the field.
You know what? He'll probably play on Friday, so I'm gonna hold my thoughts on that. Not really, because we already went through them, but you get my point. He's under control until 2027. Well, actually, he's under control until 2030. So if you find that your first round pick you nailed, well, you're in good hands, because he's 24 right now. He'll be 25 on July 12th, right? So 2030.
Okay, so the next Avatar will be out by the time he starts.
No, but all jokes aside, you're looking at him. You won't even have to bring him back if you don't want to. He'd be 31 by the time he hits free agency.
Will he be facing righties at that point? Let's ask Boone, because Boone likes to give us 10-year windows. So we'll ask him.
Yeah. Let's ask him what'll happen. But yeah, 2020 first round pick Austin Wells, and this podcast continues to bat for him. It's really that simple. So that's going to do it, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed. Way longer than we anticipated, but I guess we had a lot to talk about in such a dismal performance. Be sure to follow us at Yankees Unloaded on all social media. Follow me at JK Bogan. Follow Gary at Gary Sheffield Jr. Again, all social media. And with that said, you guys take care. We'll see you guys soon.
And like this video.